You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's talk about Conner Weigman. We've already established that it's likely the Orange have interest in him. It's just that Fran Brown in his press conference could not publicly admit it. Okay? I think we've established that. There are two green flags. I guess we'll do green flags and red flags. We're going to take a little bit of dating, I guess, and put it into a Locked On Syracuse podcast. Green flag, red flag, right? We're going to talk about Conner Weigman. There are two green flags and two red flags. Let's start with the green. Let's start with positive, right? Number one, he fits the scheme. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. Kaidon McCord is 6'3", 210 pounds. Okay, so he's got about similar size. If you look at Conner Weigman's scouting report, they say he's got good arm strength. He's got good zip on the ball. The zip on the ball is really the thing that caught my eye because that's like Kaidon McCord. That was the first thing I noticed about Kaidon McCord when I watched him even in the spring game in April. It's just how he throws. It's like it's shot out of a cannon. And I would make the comparison back in April when I watched Syracuse's prior quarterback, and I don't mean to disrespect him, it was Derek Schrader. He was okay. He was okay. He was a very mobile guy, but when he threw the ball, he threw like a lollipop. That's kind of what it was. It was a lollipop. The best example, if you're really looking for a reference of someone who could be successful throwing lollipops, is Chad Pennington, actually. Chad Pennington was a guy who did not have a lot of zip, did not have a lot of arm strength, but he was accurate at least. Clearly, I mean, he was in the NFL. He got to be accurate to some extent. When I watched Kaidon McCord, he had that zip on the ball. It's the same thing, I guess, with Conner Weigman, and he fits the scheme. He's a pro-style quarterback. Pro-style. That means, hey, you could just plug and play him right into Jeff Nixon's offensive system, and it should work. He's accurate, short, intermediate, deep. He can make all the throws, and he's a little bit more mobile than Kaidon McCord. So he fits the scheme. He's a big guy. Makes a lot of sense, right? He's got a lot of zip. Sounds good to me. Number two, also similar to Kaidon McCord, he's a former 5-star recruit. We saw with McCord the talent of a 5-star player. Not every 5-star is going to live up to their potential, but you always will see, not always, you will usually see glimpses of why someone is a 5-star player. A 5-star high school player is one of the, 20 best players in the country, give or take. It is incredibly difficult to be that highly rated in football, in an ESPN 300, or you get the point. It's so difficult to be a 5-star, more difficult than it is in basketball because it's like the same amount of 5 stars in each sport, but there's a lot more players in football. He's a 5-star guy, and so he's clearly got talent. Okay, the talent just doesn't go away. It's whether or not it can be developed through coaching. It's whether or not the player wants it bad enough. Do they have the work ethic, the desire? But when you're a 5-star quarterback, you have a lot of talent. Conner Weigman is a 5-star player, just like Kaidon McCord was in high school. And we saw what happened with Kaidon McCord, how Syracuse was able to unlock it by putting him in the right system and giving him the right circumstances. All ACC second team. Look at that. So he's a former 5-star, and he fits the scheme. It's almost like you're putting in Kaidon McCord 2.0. But there are some red flags. Just like Kaidon Salter, actually, he regressed in 2024. And it's not just from 2023, it's from 2022 as well. In 2022 and 2023, here were his combined numbers. He played in 9 games. In those 9 games, 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 62% completion rate. That's really good. I know it's only 9 games, but over 200 passing yards a game, 16-2 touchdown to interception ratio. I think we'd all take that. That's really, really good. But this past season, he plays in 6 games and he throws for 800 total yards, which is well less per game than what he was averaging. It's like barely over 100 per game. 3 touchdowns in 6 games and 5 interceptions. Not great. Completion percentage, 56%. Oof. Not good. So clearly there's a red flag. There's clearly some sort of regression. But like Kaidon Salter, is there an explanation for this? It's Texas A&M, so I am not going to give him a personnel excuse. It's Texas A&M. They're always going to get good recruits. They're always going to get good transfers. No excuse with personnel. It's not Liberty football here. But I am willing to give Conner Weigman this. They completely changed their coaching staff from 2023 to 2024, and they changed their offensive system. So it's entirely possible that he couldn't adjust to a new scheme. And if he were to come to Syracuse, he's going to be put in a system already in place that should, in theory, work for a pro-style quarterback. But Texas A&M, it just wasn't a fit anymore. They changed coaches, and he regressed. The other red flag with Conner Weigman is this. He's got an injury history. That's a no-no. I don't like injury histories. Not good. He's dealt with a lot of them. I mean, just 2 off the top of my head that I wrote down. I mean, AC joint injury that caused him to miss 3 games this past season. Not great. He had a season-ending foot injury in 2023. So is he injury prone? Is he unlucky? Maybe the shoulder injury can explain why part of the regression happened. Because I believe he did come back from it briefly. I don't know. But he's got an injury history. And these are all questions that I have. So Conner Weigman, he's got a lot of talent. He's a 5-star player. He's a pro-style quarterback, so he already fits the scheme that's in place. But he clearly regressed this season, and he's got an injury history. There's green flags, red flags, pros and cons. No matter how you slice it, we're going to talk about this coming up. Kaidon Salter, Conner Weigman, there are pros and cons to both quarterbacks. There's no perfect quarterback prospect in the transfer portal for Syracuse football. At least any of them that they are connected to. These are the 2 ones that they are connected to right now.